Scroll through Instagram for 5 minutes and you will see them. The billionaires, the celebrities, the tech founders, posing casually on the steps of a private jet. They project an aura of absolute ownership, of ultimate wealth. Society trains us to look at that airplane and think, that man is so rich, he bought a $30 million jet. But you are looking at an illusion. Behind the leather seats, the champagne, and the altitude lies one of the most ruthless and brilliant financial architectures on the planet. The vast majority of the ultra-wealthy do not own those planes. They rent them. But they don't just rent them from anyone. They rent them from invisible middlemen who are using the billionaires' own money to build empires. Welcome to the pinnacle of capital appropriation. We call it asset arbitrage. Today on Capital Chronicles, we are going to decode the terrifyingly genius true story of how a 26-year-old baggage handler with negative equity engineered a financial vehicle so powerful it allowed him to legally hold $25 million in cash, manipulate the private aviation market, and eventually buy his own airline. If you're ready to stop looking at wealth through the eyes of a consumer and start analyzing it through the mind of an architect, hit that subscribe button right now. Pay close attention, because the airspace above you is owned by the masters of the float. Meet Victor. The year is 2019. Victor was working at a private aviation terminal known as an FBO in Miami, Florida. His job was manual labor. He carried Louis Vuitton luggage, loaded catering onto jets, and watched the richest people on Earth walk past him without making eye contact. But Victor wasn't just carrying bags. He was gathering intelligence. He noticed a massive friction point in the industry. The billionaires hated the booking process. Every time they wanted to fly to New York or Aspen, they had to wait for quotes, sign tedious charter contracts, and wire money case by case. On the other side of the tarmac, the companies that actually owned the planes, the operators, were constantly stressed. Their planes were sitting idle on the runway, losing money by the hour, because they didn't know how to market them. Victor saw the gap. The clients had infinite money, but zero patience. The operators had the assets, but zero cash flow certainty. Victor realized he didn't need to save $30 million to buy a jet. He just needed to control the space in between. He quit his job on the tarmac and founded a company called Aeroprime. No planes, no hangars, just a sleek, military-grade black metal card and a masterfully crafted illusion. Victor targeted the wealthy CEOs he had covertly networked with during his time at the FBO. He sat down in their corner offices and slid the heavy metal Aeroprime jet card across the mahogany desk. He made them a pitch they couldn't refuse. He said, "Stop signing contracts every time you fly. Stop waiting for quotes. You wire $250,000 into your Aeroprime account today. In return, your hourly flight rate is locked in for the entire year. When you want to fly, you send one text message, and a jet is waiting for you. The cost is simply deducted from your balance." To the CEOs, this was the ultimate convenience. $250,000 was pocket change for them. It was a rounding error. Within 2 weeks, Victor sold the jet card to 10 clients. Let us pause and observe the financial alchemy that just took place. Victor sold 10 cards at $250,000 each. He collected $2.5 million in pure cash. He had no planes. He had no pilots. He was selling a promise. He had officially initiated the ultimate game of other people's money. But Victor didn't stop there. When a client texted him to fly to London, Victor would call the actual aircraft operators. He would book the flight at a wholesale rate, keep a healthy profit margin, and deduct the retail rate from the client's prepaid balance. But here's where the genius of the middleman truly shines. Victor didn't pay the aircraft operators up front. He leveraged the volume of flights he was bringing them to demand net 30 payment terms. The CEOs had paid him for the whole year on day one. The planes were flying today. But Victor wouldn't pay the operator for another 30 days. This is the float. Victor took that $2.5 million of the client's money and weaponized it. He didn't buy sports cars. He bought market dominance. He poured the cash into high-end, hyper-targeted marketing. He sponsored luxury golf tournaments. He hired elite sales executives. He used the first 10 clients' money to acquire 50 more clients, then 100. Within 2 years, Victor was holding over $25 million in prepaid jet card deposits. He was legally holding $25 million that was sitting in his accounts, generating interest and funding a massive expansion. He was a phantom aviation mogul. He was controlling the skies using $0 of his own capital. If you think this business model is brilliant, comment Jet Empire right now. If you think collecting millions for a service you haven't delivered yet is a dangerous gamble, comment House of Cards. Let's see who understands the true nature of leverage. Pause and drop your thoughts. Victor felt untouchable. But the law of the float states that your empire is only as strong as your ability to fulfill the promise. And a black swan was circling the runway. It was mid-December, the absolute peak of the private aviation season. All of Victor's elite clients were booking flights to Aspen, St. Bart's, and the Swiss Alps for the holidays. Without warning, the Federal Aviation Administration, the FAA, issued an emergency airworthiness directive. They immediately grounded an entire specific model of mid-sized jets due to a critical engine flaw. It just so happened that this model made up nearly 60% of the charter market Victor relied on. The market descended into pure chaos. With half the nation's planes legally grounded, the supply vanished overnight. The demand skyrocketed. The aircraft operators who still had functioning planes quadrupled their charter rates. Victor was trapped in a financial nightmare. His clients had locked-in, guaranteed hourly rates on their jet cards. But to buy those flights on the open market now, Victor would have to pay 3 times what he was charging the client. If he paid out of pocket, his $25 million float would be incinerated in a matter of weeks, bankrupting the company. If he told his billionaire clients that he couldn't get them a plane for their Christmas vacation, they would demand immediate refunds of their $250,000 deposits. The mass exodus would trigger a bank freeze. He would be sued for fraud, investigated by federal authorities, and sent to federal prison. Put yourself in Victor's tailored suit. The planes are grounded. The billionaires are packing their bags. The market prices are destroying your margins. But you have $25 million of liquid cash in your control right now. What do you do? Comment your escape plan below. Victor knew that running would mean prison. He looked at the $25 million float and realized he had to change the rules of the game. He could not afford to be a broker anymore. He had to become the source. While the broker market was burning, actual aviation companies were also bleeding. Victor found a highly respected but financially drowning regional charter operator in Texas. They owned 10 physical jets and held the highly coveted FAA Part 135 operating certificate. They had the planes, but they had too much debt and no marketing. Victor didn't wait. He flew to Texas. He sat down with the desperate owner and slammed a term sheet on the table. He used $12 million straight from his cash float to buy the airline outright. He cleared their debts, assumed control of the fleet, and instantly became the CEO of a fully certified aviation operator. Then, Victor executed the most brilliant public relations pivot in aviation history. He sent a personal, encrypted email to his 100 elite clients. He didn't mention the market crisis. He didn't mention the grounded planes. He framed it as a massive, exclusive upgrade. He wrote, "At AeroPrime, the safety and reliability of your family during the holiday season is our ultimate priority. We refuse to rely on the unstable third-party charter market. Therefore, we are proud to announce that AeroPrime has officially acquired its own private fleet and federal operating certificate. Your holiday flights will be serviced directly by our own aircraft with zero disruptions." The billionaires didn't just accept it, they applauded it. They felt like they were part of an elite institution that was growing more powerful. They didn't ask for refunds, they bought more hours. Victor used his newly acquired physical fleet to fly his clients to Aspen and St. Bart's, bypassing the inflated broker market entirely. He absorbed the operational costs, but he saved his company, his float, and his freedom. Victor pulled off the ultimate financial heist. He sold a promise to generate cash. He delayed his expenses to build a float, and when the market threatened to destroy his illusion, he used the client's own money to buy the actual airplanes. He transitioned from a middleman with negative equity to a certified airline owner worth tens of millions of dollars. This is the reality of wealth that they do not teach in universities. The middle class believes that you must save money to buy assets. The ultra-wealthy understand that you must capture cash flow to control assets. They don't buy the castle with their own gold. They stand at the toll bridge, collect the coins, and use those coins to buy the entire kingdom. Stop viewing your business as a mere exchange of a product for a price. Start viewing it as an architecture of time and capital. Who holds the money? For how long? And what can be built in the silence before the bill is due? If this breakdown of asset arbitrage and the jet card float changed the way you view the world, hit that like button right now. Share this video with an entrepreneur who needs to stop playing small and start understanding leverage. And if you want to discover the next hidden blueprint used by the 1% to print money, make sure you subscribe to Capital Chronicles. Turn on the notification bell, because the matrix is real, and we are showing you the exit. I will see you in the next one.